Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Jessica Traylor and I teach psychology and human services at Gordon State College. Before that, I worked as a school psychologist in Lamar County, and before that, as a school psychologist in Savannah, so a much larger school system. Prior to that, I was a Babies Can't Wait service coordinator and a special education teacher. So although I'm in the higher ed world now, it's still very fresh to me. This is the end of my 4th year full-time at Gordon. I taught for 4 or 5 years, part-time before that. And I was a contract school psychologist actually just until this past July. I was still doing psych evals. So still very, very familiar with your world. I was not in a school day to day during COVID. I came and did some testing, wrote my reports and went to meetings. So I don't have that inside feeling that you all have right now. But I do have 2 teenagers. My daughter graduated from high school last May. She's now in college at Tennessee State. And my son is a 10th grader this year. Both of them are student athletes. So we're involved with lots and lots of facets of the educational system. So thank you for paying attention to this video. I was asked to talk to school counselors about their mental state and their students and reducing stress. So I know that you all are mental health professionals. You understand the concept of stress and resilience, and I want to respect that, and I don't want to waste your time. So I will promise to do my best to add value to your day. Just to set the expectations for you, I was asked to speak for about 20 minutes. Hopefully you'll enjoy our time together. I've enjoyed putting this together for you. As we get started, I just wanted to tell you about a story. A friend of mine who is still a school psychologist called me this morning while I was finalizing this PowerPoint, and she said, "Jessica," and I could tell she was smiling. She's been struggling. There's been a lot of stress in her area of the world. You can all imagine why, right? School psychologists, there's a shortage. Everybody wants their kid tested. Everybody thinks their kid has a learning disability. But we know kids really missed 2 years of solid instruction. Anyway, she says, "Jessica, guess what? Do you know what it feels like to not be surrounded by anxiety?" And I said, "Yeah, I do. I remember that feeling." So as we get started, I just want you to take a minute and go back to that time, to that place where you felt really good about what you were doing. You didn't feel the anxiety or the stress or the worry, and maybe that's how you feel now. But think about a time when you were satisfied with your job, when it felt good to help people. And if you still feel that way, fantastic. If you don't worry. You're in good company, and it is normal. So who are school counselors? Who are these people who take care of everyone else? Well, that's you, right? You are the heart of our schools. Let's see the words here. You know what a word cloud is. Good listeners, professional, patient, helpful, kind, caring, passionate leaders, empathetic, resourceful, non-judgmental. That's a really high pedestal to put people on, especially right now in this difficult time that we are experiencing. But that is what is expected from a school counselor. And as a former school psychologist, I know you're the ones in the building every day. School psychologists may work for a district, but you are there for the school. Even in small counties, you may be very, very well understaffed. So thank you for being who you are and doing what you do. Here's a definition. So you are highly educated, professionally certified folks who help students succeed, not only in school, but in their career, helping them form goals and mindsets and behaviors that are healthy. So before we move too much farther into what I really want to talk about, I'm going to situate us in some data. Data are important because that just lets us know the water we're swimming in. What you're about to see is a snapshot of some student health survey data from 2016-18 and 2020 pre-COVID. Student health survey, as you well know, is usually done early spring, sometime around February. So the 2020 data were collected before students were sent home for the COVID shutdowns. So I focused on 4 rural counties. And you can see here, these are the percentage of students who have felt sad or withdrawn in the past 30 days. At the bottom, you can see the legend tells you Butts County is in the blue, Lamar County is red, Pike is yellow, Upson is purple, and then Georgia as a whole is in the green. From this, what we can see is that from 2016-18 to 2020, things got a little bit better for some folks and stayed about the same for many, and actually increased for other counties. So sad and withdrawn, it's going up. Past 30 days, have you experienced intense worries or fears that got in the way of your activities? Yeah, and you see how much it went up even 2020 pre-COVID. Now there might have been some thoughts or some rumors that could have influenced this, right? Because we're still talking about February, although we didn't shut down until March. So maybe that's what happened. It's concerning though, right? 34%, that's a third of your students feeling worried, and that getting in the way of their daily activities. This is about self-harm. So we can see here in 2020, somewhere between 9 and 13%. Average in the state of Georgia, 9% of students harm themselves on purpose. That's an average of 2 to 3 students in every single classroom engaging in self-harm. In some counties, it's higher than that. Seriously considering attempting suicide. We can see here up to 14% in some counties. This is a big concern. What we do know is that about half of the students who consider suicide end up attempting. And that you can see here. So I asked some students, right, what's going on here? And this is what they say from middle school, high school, and of course, Gordon. What do you think? It's a lot. It's probably real. It's not surprising. I mean, they were part of creating this data set. How does it make them feel? Confused, overwhelmed, sad, scared, worried, helpless. Me too, buddy. Me too. It is overwhelming and it is scary. I do not feel helpless though, because I have strategies. And what do you think is causing it? I love middle school kids. Fake people, love it, drama. And then we get into high school, they're talking about real things, disconnection, pressure, the pressure to perform, home issues. And then college, society's definition of happiness and indifference. This is pre-COVID, guys. This is 2018. This is when I was still working in the K-12 system and part of what led to my leaving. So how do you think this should be addressed? Conflict resolution, treat everybody the same, treat everybody like people. High schoolers think we need more caring teachers and we need to show people that we care. They want students to have a voice. They want the pressure to be reduced. They want people to have someone they can talk to. And the college students just simply say, pay attention, see people, and take care of the teachers. So what's going on with the teachers? This is from May 2021. You can see the numbers here. Increase in depression, anxiety, folks want to leave the field, increased alcohol use due to stress. There's a popular trend on TikTok now with teachers saying, I don't feel guilty. I left the profession in the middle of the semester and it was because of this, this, and that. We're losing people. We're losing good people. And we're losing some people who need to go, but we are losing good people. So who takes care of these folks? You do. You are the heart of the school. And sadly, there aren't enough of you, in my opinion. You can see here the ratios. ASCA recommends one counselor to every 250 students. And you can see there, Georgia is at about 1 to 472. I know Lamar County, at least the last time I checked, had 4 counselors to about 2,500 students. So that's about 4 times the number of students per counselor that we should have. Some quick math there. We need more. So if your compassion does not include yourself, it's incomplete. Start with self-compassion. That's from Jack Kornfield. He's a well-known meditation teacher. I would recommend him highly if you need some meditation instruction. He's got lots of videos. Self-compassion is very important. So what we're really talking about here from what I see is compassion fatigue. It's where we're tired. Our cup of care is empty. I have no more care in my cup to pour out for you, is what compassion fatigue feels like. So what are the risk factors? Personal experience, right? Your past history with schools, with trauma, with any other outside source of stress. What you do to cope, how full is your toolbox? How many strategies do you have to cope? What support do you have at home, at work? And then there are lots of organizational factors that you can see here. People who feel like they have control don't experience as much compassion fatigue. Control over any aspect, choices make a difference. A perception that you have access to resources. People are giving you the information you need when you need it. You have the money that you need to do what you need to do. And then, of course, quality of relationships. You need a tribe. Who are your people? Who are the people at work who are moving in the same direction that you're moving? Some of you are fortunate enough to work with a great school social worker. When I worked as a school psychologist, the school social worker was my biggest ally, and we are still friends to this day. You got to find those people. And then, of course, what training do you have? How supportive is your administration? All of those are risk factors. So what are some of the symptoms? You can see here burnout on the left. This is really just exhaustion. It's more than just exhaustion. It's beyond that. It's physical exhaustion, it's emotional exhaustion, and it's apathy. You used to care and now you don't. And you don't know why, and you probably feel guilty. And that's normal. Compassion fatigue also involves secondary traumatic stress. So in addition to burnout, folks who care for others experience their trauma in a secondary way. So you may have some of the symptoms of PTSD, and you can see that listed over there on the right side. But what we do know is that compassion satisfaction and resilience can help mediate the effects. So that's what we want to do. We want to boost our self-compassion, boost our resilience to try to balance out some of those potential risk factors and symptoms of compassion fatigue. So I started by asking you to remember a time when you felt good about your work, when it felt good to give, when it felt like you were making a difference. When I finished creating the PowerPoint for this video, I felt good. When I first started thinking about doing it, when I was asked to do it, didn't feel so good. I'm human, right? I know the research, I know the strategies, but I still go through this. It's been the worst year, almost two, as far as hearing and managing and helping other people navigate through their own traumas. My students have lost loved ones. My students have been sick. They've lost their jobs. They've had to pick up extra jobs. It's tough being the one to care for others all the time. But creating this for you, it made me feel good because I think it will make a difference, and I'm proud of it. So for you, compassion satisfaction, where can you find it? Even in little ways. And then resilience, it's simply the ability to bounce back. You've all heard a lot about resilience. I'm not going to beat this into the ground, but I just want you to think of it as a capacity, right? The ability to have the resources, to find the resources, to use the resources at the right time. And if you don't have the resources, it's knowing who does. So sometimes that's access to information, or sometimes that is your social network, or skills even. Having coping skills is a resource. So what have you got? What are you doing? How are you with your compassion, satisfaction, and your resilience? I love Brené Brown. Brené Brown saved my life. If you've not read anything by Brené Brown, and I doubt that's possible, but if you haven't, just start anywhere and just take a deep dive into her work. I love this quote. Daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves, even at the risk of disappointing others. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. A student emailed me today. They want to meet today at 1 o'clock. I can meet with them today at 1 o'clock, but I have a lot of other things that I need to be doing. So I'm not going to meet with that student today at 1 o'clock. We're going to schedule an appointment at a different time because I've set boundaries around this time to get some productive work done, like this video for you. Boundaries are important. Emotional boundaries, physical boundaries, boundaries around time. It's up to you to set those and to decide where they go at any point in time. And they can change for you depending on what you need. So what can you do? Advocate for change. Talk to your legislators, right? Write the government, send some emails, make some phone calls. Talk to folks about being trauma informed. What's your school doing as far as training goes? Get trained. Youth mental health first aid is an excellent training, usually free in lots of places. You could also get training in suicide awareness and prevention. You could get training in sources of strength. You could get training in the strength, any strength-based model. And then advocate for more counselors. more social workers, more psychologists. I know some larger districts have opened up a position related to health and wellness. Only requires a bachelor's degree. I know that school counselors need a master's degree and school psychologists need a specialist degree. We know these things, but it would be nice to have more hands on deck. Even bachelor's level folks trained in psychology or sociology, or human services, any of that, right? Any of that could help. So know your purpose. Why do you do what you do? When times get tough, what is your why? What makes you get up and go to work every day? It's not for the paycheck. It's not for the summers off. That's not why you got into this. That's not why anybody got into teaching. It's different, right? It's different for everybody. But for me, it's about passing on knowledge to the next generation. It's about helping people live a better life, to live, not to be cliche, but to live their best life, to make their best use of whatever resources they have and to help them add to their toolbox. Eliminate unnecessary work. What are you doing that you don't need to do? Can you get an intern? Can you get a student worker? Can you give it to somebody else? And if not, how can you be more efficient? This give to other one, I didn't put it in here almost, because I know that you're givers. That's why you're in this profession. But this is slightly different. This is about a little thank you or a little smile or a little, I know she got your haircut. I like those shoes. Anything small to make someone else smile will actually make you smile. We have mirror neurons in the prefrontal cortex, long story, but it does feel good. And then manage your time. This question about where are the weeds, we spend a lot of time, I don't know about you, I spend a lot of time doing things that are unnecessary. And they don't need to be done. And so that just needs to go. And then exercise, get out, go for a walk, 5 minutes to stretch, anything. And then regulate your emotions, manage your stress. Do you notice when you're starting to get stressed? What does that feel like in your body? Where do you feel it? You feel it in your head, you feel it in your hands, feel it in your stomach. And then what can you do about it? So becoming more aware and more active in your own stress management process. Couple of little tools here. You guys can take a picture of this, use it later, whatever is useful. There's just different things to think about as far as what's going on in your world. Is your environment set up to make you feel comfortable and successful? The people you work with, are they the people that can facilitate your happy success? Your skills. Do you have the skills you need? Are there other skills that you need to learn? And then your purpose. Again, why are you here? Why do you do what you do? And then this is from the industrial organizational psych world. It's a performance management tool. Start, stop, keep going. And the idea here is to think for yourself. What are some things that you can start doing that would help you with your compassion satisfaction, reduce your compassion fatigue? What can you do more, do less, stop, keep going? What can you do? And then pick something to do today. So beware of the naked man offering you a shirt. So that you know, I am not a naked man offering you a shirt. These are the things that I do. I sit outside, I read. Sometimes I nap out there, not right now, it's cold, but it's very pleasant. Create a pleasant space where you feel comfortable. Have a bathtub. I spend lots of time in my bathtub, usually listening to audiobooks or podcasts, but that's okay. It's still relaxing. I go hiking, I journal, do yoga, and I meditate. Actually took up therapeutic drumming because it's just wonderful. If you've never tried it and you want to, let me know. Happy to do a workshop. So I come to you from experience, not just education, not just theory, but from actual experience. I went through compassion fatigue in 2018. That is when I left K-12. I'm happy to share that story, but it's not here. It's for a different time and place. And I went through compassion fatigue again at the end of last semester. In May, I found myself thinking, I don't care. I really don't care. But I took some time and I worked through it and I refilled my cup. And I encourage you to do the same. If you need anything, have any questions, email me. It's right there, jtraylor1@gordonstate.edu. And my website is there as well. I don't post often recently because I've been so busy, but you'll find some good things there about self-care and managing your beliefs and perception and all that stuff. But just thank you. Thank you. I know it's a high bar we set for you, but thank you. Thank you for being you, for showing up every day, for doing the best that you can, for caring for your students and their teachers and their parents and your administrators and everybody. You are the heart of our schools. What you do does not go unnoticed. You are loved and appreciated.